Hello, everybody. Captain Marty here on Friday, September the 12th. Hope you're heading into a good weekend. We could use for our offshore fleet a little better weather, and I don't think we're going to get it where we want it. But I'll tell you about what is going on in the fishing report. It'll be a little minimal, but that's due to the weather more than anything. But there are still some bright points that I want to share with you, and I'll be right back to do just that.
Ahoy there, folks. Captain Edward Lee here, and I want to invite you aboard the Miss Oregon Inlet II. She's a modern 60-foot headboat outfitted with the latest top-quality safety and fishing equipment. And it ain't just about fishing. Keep your eyes peeled for dolphins, turtles, and all that beautiful Outer Banks scenery. Miss Oregon Inlet II is available for private charters, including bachelor and bachelorette parties, corporate retreats, and family reunions. So ditch the beach for a bit and set sail with the Miss Oregon Inlet II.
Let's be real. No one wants to deal with nasty varmints like mice, roaches, creepy crawlies, and critters. Leave that work to the experts at Outer Banks Pest Control. Outer Banks Pest Control is the best on the beach when it comes to eradicating those unwanted creatures. They've been in business for over 25 years with well over 100 years of combined exterminating experience. Specializing in both commercial and residential properties, Outer Banks Pest Control has all the tools and equipment necessary to take on any pesky job. They pride themselves on top quality customer service and workmanship. Hey, if it ain't red and yellow, it's just some coattail riding fella. Outer Banks Pest Control, the best on the beach with a proven track record of excellence since the year 2000 and online at outerbanks-pestcontrol.com.
So our report will not be long today. We're going to skip right over the offshore and nearshore reports for both Hatteras and Oregon Inlet as everybody is laying in due to the weather, the swell, the bars, not the bars like you go out and have a mixed drink, the bars in the inlets. That's where the huge Pamlico Sound and the other inshore sounds all flow out through Oregon Inlet, Hatteras, and Ocracoke inlets. All three of them are big inlets and are three of the most challenging inlets on the East Coast. So that is concern number one. The concern number two is you want people to enjoy their days. Sometimes you have to go out and fish a rough day, but you don't want to go out and beat people. You don't want to risk injury, and those captains will not do that. So they build a business on return clientele. That's what they'll be thinking. So they change the oil in their boats. They go home and mow the yard. Maybe they do a load of their own laundry for a change, and they play with the kids and the wife or husband, and they'll be back in action soon. Don't know when though, because I heard someone say yesterday might be Sunday at the earliest. So we'll move on to our surf and pier report. That is encouraging because we've had a real good spell of drum fishing over the last few days. Mostly the 44-inch drum on the end of the piers, and mostly on every single pier. Big red drum, the state fish, a little bit of a connoisseur's fishery out on the end of those piers, but every one of those people that is out there doing that high-level, high-end fishing started out catching sea mullet, bluefish, and croakers. People that love pier fishing would rather do that than any other thing. So the idea would be to go out and watch, like I talk about quite often, and see how it's done, and stay out of the way, offer to help if they need some help, and gradually work your way into doing that. That's about all on the piers, really, other than a few bluefish. But in the surf, we have some other stuff going on. Spanish mackerel down in Buxton. We had some red drum in Avon and Buxton. In both areas on Hatteras Island had bluefish and sea mullet. So that's really, really good. Same thing north of Oregon Inlet on the beach. We had some folks catching sea mullet, bluefish. There were a few puppy drum caught in the surf. None of it is anything you're going to write home about. This is the time of year when we usually get a pretty good speckled trout bite in the surf. And keep in mind, the flounder season is still open for a few more days. But if you're going to get into that speckled trout thing, the best thing, the people I know that are really good at it, they like to fish in the sloughs alongside the pier. So they'll fish off the beach right there in the wash and fish up or down one side of the pier or the other. So that might be something to think about. But there is a nice mix of fish available in the surf. And Cape Point, I'm just not hearing a lot of red hot fishing yet, but it's coming. So just pay attention, stay with us on our Fishing Report Daily, and we'll let you know when that breaks loose. There are some being caught down there. That's another place. It's when that point is open, you want to make sure you're legal and have all the proper permits. But when it is open, that is great fun to go down there and spectate. So being a good spectator is the quickest way to shorten the learning curve. We'll take a little break, and I'll be right back and tell you about what's happening back in the Sound. Got a little bit of action back there. I'll share that with you after this message from our sponsor.
Locally owned and operated since 1971, Billy's Seafood has been providing the locals and visitors of the Outer Banks with some of the freshest seafood you'll find. Not too far off the beaten path down Collington Road in KDH, Billy's Seafood has become a landmark for those seeking top-notch seafood at affordable prices. Billy's Seafood also has beer, wine, grandma's tuna salad, and other groceries as well. To see more, go online to billyseafoodobx.com. Billy's Seafood, putting fresh seafood on your table for over 50 years.
All right, so most of what we'll be talking about will be in the Pamlico Sound and its Drumorama back there. You do have to remember that even though you're in the backcountry, the Pamlico Sound can get really rough really quickly and requires the same amount of respect you would use if you're going out to the Gulf Stream. Having said that, we have professional guides and we have recreational people that are fishing on their own. You want to make sure you follow a float plan always, especially if you're doing night fishing, which a lot of this fishing is done at night. And you want to have safety devices like an EPIRB, good working life jackets, plenty of flashlights, things like that you could signal somebody if you were broke down. But they are catching the big drum, and they're catching them a lot of different ways. And then some of the other guys are catching smaller drum, speckled trout, bluefish, and sheephead. And one of the ways they're doing that is taking a good finer mesh cast net. I would say 1/2 inch to 5/8 inch stretch mesh would be good. And they're going along the marsh, and when they see the shrimp, and there are a lot of shrimp out there now, when they see them start flipping up out of the water, they drift down through there, throw their cast net, and they're using live shrimp. Is no better bait for a lot of those species, especially the smaller ones, than a live shrimp. Again, your local tackle shop will give you the information you need. Pick one, become loyal to it. You'll get free local knowledge, competitively priced tackle, and you'll definitely get the availability of the freshest bait. Like, for instance, yesterday, getting fresh mullet, corncob mullet in a tackle shop is almost political. And that's what you want. You get 2 or 3 day old bait, your chances went down by 50%. You get frozen bait, your chances went down by 50%. It's just a known fact. So you want to shop with somebody that's going to that extra mile to have some commercial fishermen bring them some mullet at 4 o'clock in the morning so that you have the best chances with the freshest, oiliest, most fragrant bait that there is. So another thing to keep in mind before we wind up the program, the flounder bite is good. The Miss Oregon Inlet continues to do well on their bottom fishing trips out in the Sound, catching flounders and croakers, spots, and sea mullets. And this is peak season for wade fishing. Working around Roanoke Island is one spot. Get out there with a 7-foot, 10-pound test spinning rod. You can have something as simple as a jig head with a grub on it, as advanced as a popping cork with a bait dangling below that, which is all the rage right now. Also, south end of Wanchese, the backside of Hatteras Island offers a lot of wading opportunities. And while we're on that subject, several of the Hatteras backcountry boats did get out in the Sound yesterday, and they had really good loads of bluefish, a few trout, and a few drum. So fishing's good. Be weather aware and do those things I told you in the early part of today's program. So I wish you the best luck. Go out and have a great day. May the good Lord bless you richly.